All right, we are live, and y'all tuned in today. What is it today? 1st of September.
It is.
Wow. The time is gone. I am your host, Andres, aka PKA, however you want to say it. Discover this. And today's guest, we have Miss Ashley Kirklen, who is WGXA news journalist here. I guess I would like to say as news anchor as well, here in the Middle Georgia area. A very special guest. I feel honored that she took the time out of her busy day, because she is a busy woman, to come and come to this podcast and talk to our audience. So Ms. Kirklen, give us a little background about what really got you started in journalism, or what inspired you.
So I'm used to wearing a mic. Am I speaking into one?
Yeah, it's picking up right now, so you don't have to.
So these are like super magnet. Okay, awesome. Yeah, I'm used to wearing the live. So yeah, I actually had a roundabout way of getting into the business. I went to school, Indiana University. Go Hoosiers!
Okay, yeah, I saw that.
They got whooped last night. They got whooped. Whew. But I'm still representing. So I went to Indiana for telecommunications, and all of that. And like most college or after college students, I don't know what your audience is like, but I went through that like quarter life crisis, 23 years old. College didn't really prepare me for the job that I wanted, the field that I wanted. It prepared me to be able to finish things, to be able to be a go-getter, really, to sustain. So and I didn't realize that at the time. So I worked at a restaurant for 8 months, and then I taught for 3 years. I taught for 1 year in South Korea. Okay. And then I went to Charlotte to teach in a Teach for America program, inner city schools. And then I got the epiphany. I was like, I'm teaching these kids, trying to build their dreams, telling them to do, what they're passionate about and all this, but I wasn't really living my dream. And I think a part of me didn't want to pursue TV news because I thought it was vain. I thought, what am I putting into the community or the world just by being on TV? But then one day I was home for Thanksgiving break. I was at my brother's house, and I remember watching Sage Steele, who was also an Indiana graduate, on ESPN, and it was just like, that's what I want to do. That's what I want to do.
Okay.
And so so I'm into sports, and so I began pursuing it from there. I just it was a grind. I was unemployed for a year, trying to just pursue this business. So I got my first job producing in the Upper Peninsula of Michigan, very cold place.
Yeah.
And then 6 months later, I became a reporter. And then 2 years later and some change, I came here to Macon as a morning anchor. So.
Okay, with that being said, are you from the, up northern region as far as birthplace?
I'm from the Midwest. Yep, I grew up partially in Gary, Indiana, and then
Michael Jackson.
Everybody says that. Michael Jackson, that's right, Michael Jackson. Hometown of the Jackson, and you can go to their house right now, and it's like a little
museum.
It's very little. It's not quite a museum. People stop by there, but yeah.
Oh, I thought they turned it into a museum. I thought I read a report somewhere where they.
It's
or they get.
Well, when
they
I
have
think of
plans
museum,
for
though, I'm thinking of like the big. But yeah, I guess it's a museum, but it's so small. It's so tiny.
Yeah, that's what you say. You grew up in a small house,
It's
but
so
hey.
Tiny. So yeah, that's me. That's how I got my start in TV.
So what brought you to Macon then, of all those, places you could have gone to? What was it about this particular market that drew you to it, or, was it connections?
So in this business, you definitely have to still start at the bottom and work your way up. That's how it works. So you probably know about the news markets, and there's 210 news markets in television, 210 being the lowest, meaning the least populated, somewhere in Alaska, Montana. Number one being New York, LA, Chicago, Philly, places like that. Macon is 122, give or take. And so it was actually a blessing, honestly. I'm a person of faith, and so this has played a role in everything that I do, including my career. And so I was down to the wire with my last job, no contract. I was extending my contract, looking for a job, and I'm looking for reporter positions in larger cities. I'm like, I got to get back to the city. And then my boss at the time called me up to his office, and he said, you know, our news, same company, he said, Macon, they want to know if you want to come be their morning anchor. And I was like, I don't want to go to Macon, Georgia. I'm going to be honest. I'm open book. I was like, I don't want to go to Macon, Georgia. But then he started running figures to me and started, I was like, oh, Macon sounds cool. I can go today. Y'all ready? Like, yeah. So it was, like I said, it was a blessing because I was looking for reporter jobs in markets that were much bigger, but they would have been paying me a lot less than what I get paid now as an anchor. And then also in this business, if you don't get the anchor experience at this level, it's very tough to say go to Chicago or a bigger place as a reporter and try to jump on the anchor desk. It just is very unlikely. So
okay, so since you say that, I like watching like a lot of different stuff, right? And one of the things I binge watched was what is that? Being Mary Jane. Now, as far as the way that they have that set up as a show, how realistic is that to the actual job itself?
Well, you got to remind me, I haven't watched since the first season because Mary Jane a little nasty. She a little raunchy. Mary Jane.
Well, you know, besides all that, you know, they got to sell the show.
I know. I do remember seeing her in the first season. She was still, I guess, like a big anchor at like what was like the CNN, right?
Yeah, it was something like that, yeah.
So that was pretty, like, I guess you could compare her to the female Don Lemon or something like that at that level. But she's at a whole other level. I don't know where she is now on the show, but she was at a whole other level where, you know,
sort of like nightly news type now. Yeah. Got into that prime time
Yeah, like
spot.
Tamara Hall, those type of people, CNN, you know, we call that network. That is the network level, yeah.
Okay. So, like, as far as, because, like, I pay attention to all the little stuff that they do. So, they talk about, like, storyboards and, you know, you got your story meetings and what's going to take priority. And then, you know, when, like, say if someone's doing the morning news and most of those are live and you got your producers in the other room and just making sure that everything's transitioning.
Right,
is it sort of like, you know, is it giving you a realistic idea of how everything is really at the full function production?
Yes. And if you, on my Facebook or Twitter, Ashley Kirklen or at A Kirklen, sometimes we do live videos to show behind the scenes. So yeah, I go in pretty early, anywhere from, the crew comes in anywhere from 12:30 at night to 2:30 in the morning. We all start rolling in. And so then we have 2 anchors, and then you got 1 producer for our morning show. You got 2 reporters in the morning. You got all the staff people, the production people who really make a lot of stuff happen for us. So they're in another room after we all huddle and get the show together, write stuff. They go to another room and they start directing in our ear, telling us, you know, different things that are coming up. So yeah, it's pretty realistic. Yeah.
Yeah, it seemed like it was very realistic, and then like all the stuff that can happen because, you know, you have your own air personalities who's sitting in the chair, but then, you know, you're all collectively in the room deciding, you know, who gets what story and stuff. So does it happen as well?
And that happens in the afternoon meeting when the dayside crew gets there, and the morning people, we're like, peace out. We've been here since 12:30, 2:30 in the morning. My person is here. Sorry, when I didn't know what this was, I had a bodyguard coming.
That's fine. So they can come on in. Yes. You know, doors open.
Sorry. So those people start coming in around 9:00 in the morning, 9 to 9:30. We have a what we call an editorial meeting around 9:15, and that's when you start dishing out. Okay, what's the story of the day? What's happening? And despite popular belief, we don't try to grab like the headlines that are just the worst. We really try to search for what's the story that people care about. At the top of our bulletin, it says, what people care about. That's what our news director, who is our boss, what wants us to really try to hone in on. So we try to find those stories. What are people talking about on social media? What are they talking about at your gym, in your neighborhood? And obviously you're going to have those stories that just lead, that just are what they are. If there's a house fire that has killed 3 people, we can't not cover that, you know.
Because somebody else would cover it, and, you know, isn't it still like a competitive type thing?
It is like, a competitive, but it's also, we're in the business of people. It's not, you know, it's a product, but it's also people. So, you know, you would want to know if somebody in your neighborhood died in a house fire, or what happened in that house fire that maybe I can prevent in my own house.
Exactly.
You know, so yeah.
Okay. So, do you have, like, you know, I guess you, with everything, you would have like sort of like politics that in the job too, as well, you know.
In the workplace, or you mean like actual politics?
Well, not actual politics, but politics in the workplace. Because, you know, a lot of people, you know, with certain jobs you're going to work with, whatever, somebody might get a promotion over someone else due to, you know, not necessarily better performance, but due to...
those type of politics. Yes. And this is also my... my colleague Tavares Jones, he works with me, so he can attest to all this. But yeah, there are certainly politics in news in every workplace, and then you have different level of politics when it comes to ageism and sexism and racism, all the isms, you know. And so yeah, it's all kind of politics. You see, and I told you how I got my Friday hair, this would not be acceptable on air for, you know, if you can imagine. So.
No, I could imagine. And, you know, I've worked at some hostile places. But I want to cut to a song real quick, and we'll get into all these isms, because I like to get down into the dirty. Isms. I want to get to all the different isms. All right, y'all tuned back into the Bankedoutt Radio Show. I am your host, Discover This, and I have Miss Ashley Kirklen in the studio with us, who are gracing us with her presence. And we're about to get into these isms before we cut to that song by Fatima. But shout out to Fatima, got dope music. But back to the isms in the workplace. Like, you know, you were saying about your hair. Definitely wouldn't fly, you know, for going in and being shown on air. What all have you had to personally endure? You know, if you don't mind getting into it.
I think my situation is not unique. I know a lot of Black women in this business that we all have the same story, and we get to share them on a platform, in a secret platform together. And of course, we have National Association of Black Journalists, and I just came from that conference.
Yeah, I saw that. I remember you had texted me. So, I'm gonna be out there. I was like, oh, cool.
Yeah.
You know?
So certain things like suppressing our hair, you know, there are certain women that wear their natural hair on air, but it's very rare. It's very rare. And I was telling friends, like, I go to NABJ and you see the same look. Everybody has wigs or extensions, and it's what we kind of have to do to get ahead. You know, you don't want anything to hold you back from what you want to do. And so the mainstream look is still the Mary Jane look, the straight hair, the whatever. So that's just one thing, which doesn't bother me, because I like to wear my hair like that anyway. So that does not bother me. When I was in the Upper Peninsula of Michigan, very, very, very Caucasian community. I, at one point, was the only Black person at my station. And I remember this is when Trayvon Martin's case was happening, and George Zimmerman, he had just gotten off.
I was definitely hot during that time.
Yes. And... was it him, or it's so bad I don't even remember if it was that or Ferguson. You know, it was one of those two, and the officer, you know what, I believe it was Ferguson, and the officer in that case had just gotten off, and they said he wouldn't be working with the police department anymore. And then one of my colleagues said, oh, don't worry, you can come work here, we'll take you, you know, within earshot. And it's like, wow. You know, so things like that, the insensitivity, but I think for the most part, I have been blessed to work with some professional journalists at heart. And when I say that, I mean people that really look at both sides of the story, all elements of the story, people that care about people and know that everything is not black and white, especially in this country.
Yeah, I have a saying that I like to tell my kids and my nieces and stuff. I say life isn't just black and white. Life is, you got a little black, you got a little white, whole lot of gray.
Yeah.
Whole lots of gray.
Yeah.
And that's being objective, and I'm sure you love working with colleagues who can be objective and, understand the different nuances with people, culture, even if something might seem okay saying it, think about how it would affect someone else.
Absolutely.
And, what it does to them, so definitely.
And then, just we were talking about ageisms. I talk with some of my girlfriends in the business about this all the time. You can have a man on the desk who is 80 years old, who is
wrinkly looking, and
great,
ain't nobody looking for him for sex appeal.
Right.
But the women gotta be all young
women
looking
have somewhat of a short lifespan in this business, so
which sucks. And I guess in a perfect utopia, you want everything fair, but we don't live in those worlds.
Absolutely.
But do you think that we're making strides for it, especially with the fact that I think social media is a powerful thing, and that we can create our own content. And to me, when I look at news anchors, they're not just the news anchor for a particular show anymore. They're more of a brand now, and it seems what it's involved into. And I think that applies at all levels. Do you see where you're becoming more of a brand now? Does it seem like you're becoming a brand, or are you going to make yourself a brand?
Right. I talked to my friend about this today. For me, that's it's a struggle that I deal with, because it is, you look on social media and you see the brand that people are building, and I know I have to tweet for work. I have to do Facebook for work. I haven't gotten into wanting to extend my Instagram for work yet, but I know plenty of people that do, and I'm not knocking them, because that's where a lot of the younger generation is, and news is becoming insignificant to the younger generation, so we have to continue to reinvent ourselves. So at some point I may get there, but right now it's like Instagram is for me. But because I feel like too, it really cuts out a lot of authenticity in people, because people post like this perfect persona, or they post like, oh, and our jobs are fun, they are interesting, they're great, but life is not always that way. And I don't want people to ever look at my life on social media and think I have it all together, and then hate themselves for that. You know what I mean? I don't want to put that out there. So I'm struggling with how to build, I guess, so to speak, my brand as a journalist on social media. I kind of wish it was the old school days where I could just do my work and
then just go home, disconnect.
Yeah, nobody pay attention to me, but that's not the case.
That's not the days anymore.
No, it's not the
internet
case.
blew that a wild way.
Yeah, and so news directors, the managers, people, they look at that. They look at how many followers you have, how many times you tweet, and all that stuff. It's so that's a whole another added pressure on top of.
So was that like a performance check on the performance sheet or something? Like, have you been tweeting today?
Yeah, it's called the social media report card, actually.
Wow.
Yeah, we get
I'm like,
one.
at what point though? Like, I was watching some different. I like to go on YouTube and watch a lot of different content, and one of the things I was watching was about leadership skills and what really gets people to become, quote unquote, like successful versus people who are just stagnant, or they want to strive or something, but they just don't put their work into it. And one of the things was TD Jakes was talking about time management, and he was like, today's time, we have so much to deal with nowadays that we just do. They say that the studies are showing that we have a lot of busy work.
Yeah,
it's not really quality work.
Right.
We're doing this, doing that, doing this, and doing that, and we're only 20% of what we love to do and 80% of busy work. And what if we were able to flip those and be like 80% of our creativity and what we love to do, versus 20% busy work? And I was like, because I had this conversation that prompted a conversation with my wife, and I just like to talk to her about bounce ideas and stuff off of each other. And I was like, that is a point, as far as what we dealing with nowadays is way more than what you would deal with 20, 30 years ago, because there's way more information now.
Right.
And now we have access to it at our thumbs.
Yeah.
And it's just crazy what we have to deal with now. I'm like, you have kids who are coming up nowadays. It seems like, I'm like, if you don't have your life mapped out by the time you're in 7th grade, then there's probably studies that will show that your life is going to go this way. Exactly.
Right.
And especially when you see all these different documentaries and stuff like that. Like, that was the one I saw on Netflix, Saving Superman or something like that.
Oh,
the New York charter school.
Teachers, yes.
Mm-hmm. I just think it's crazy.
I think my rule of thumb generally is not to let things stress you out too much. What matters. And if somebody, and I believe that, I work hard, and I told you how I got into news. That didn't come just by not pursuing dreams, but I do my work, and then I have to at some point just rest and let God do what he's going to do. So if I don't get a job because I don't tweet enough for them, that wasn't for me. So I believe at the end of the day, you do the work. You got to do the work, but where you're supposed to be is where you're going to be. And if it's something, I'm always like, Laura, if it's something that is not just me, it's not me. I don't want to. If I'm not a person that takes selfies all day, I'm not going to put that image out there and I have to rest in knowing that what's going to find me is going to find me if I don't take 1,000 selfies a day.
I could definitely understand that. Understand that. So you can you like get into I guess what would be like a typical day for you on set?
So, typical day, and you were talking about the busy work. The great thing about this job I love is that, and this is why I love my shift in the mornings, people are like, oh man, you must hate it. And I'm like, no, because instead of me getting to work and then not really having work to do and feeling like time is just going past, when I get to work, I'm working, and then you got the show. So that just eats up a bunch of time, and it's like, boom, my day is over by then. So we get in, usually I get in at 2:30 in the morning, give or take, and then if I have to solo anchor or do the lead anchor, I have to get in at 12:30 midnight. So get in at 2:30, start looking at scripts and what the producer has put in the show and all of that, and go over my scripts, proofread, make sure stuff is accurate, make sure that things are spelled correctly, and how to pronounce words in North Korea, Pyongyang, and people's names and all this kind of stuff, and all the Arabic names that you have to pronounce. Look those up. So make sure that's all good and do all of that. And then I start getting ready for the show around like my face and hair. Around 5 o'clock, or I try to be ready around 4:30, and then I watch other newscasters because I think you should watch the best if you want to be the best, and so I try to watch people that I admire and think do a good job while I'm doing my face and all of that, and then we go on air at 5:30, and we do a 3.5 hour show. So that's that, and then after that, the show is over at exactly 8:50. 6:57 on the dot. You know how that TV time works. You told me I had 5 seconds, and I knew. But 5 seconds to me is like a minute. It's like, oh, in 5 seconds I can take a swig of my water. So much can happen in TV time. So yeah, we get done at 8:50, 6:57. Then we have our morning meeting. So my break really is from like 9 o'clock until 9:15 when we have our morning meeting. And that's when the afternoon crew comes in so they can put together the shows for the evening. And we break down the stories that we're going to cover, things like that. And then I start to really prepare stuff for the next day, for the mornings. And then I leave at 9:30 or 10:30.
So, like, when you walk out those doors, are you, like, done to where, okay.
Yeah, unless it's like we haven't had a situation here that I've been present for where it's like all hands on deck and you cannot leave the building type of deal. But yeah, if they had to call me back for something like that, like if those people in Houston, they have been sleeping in their studios. He's been that's my colleague, he's been at tornadoes, like when we had, or not tornadoes, hurricanes, when we had Hermine and all those storms where they slept in the studio and things like that. So yeah, but for the most part, when I leave, don't call me unless I have unless to it's something important, or whatever. So yeah.
Wow. So how would they like handle like typical things like, okay, someone's sick or whatever, can't come in because they got the flu or whatever. And
no, it's just like any other job. You know, you have fill-ins. You have people that fill in when you're out. You know, as a news anchor, you have your sick time, you have your vacation time, and you have personal days. So, but I think you got to be respectful and responsible like any other job. You know, don't be calling in at 2 hours before you're supposed to be on air.
Exactly, because I'm sure that puts people in the panic mode, doesn't it?
Yeah, I've seen it happen though. I have seen that, and I'm just like, okay, that's one of those isms we can get into, you know, with privilege and everything. But
yeah, I know it happens.
so yeah, but you definitely want to be responsible.
Okay, so if you were the person in charge, would you do anything differently as far as how you would run your own news show? Like, would you offer anything more to the public or cover a different type of stories, or is there an operating procedure there that you would do differently than what's being done now?
I mean, I feel like I have a lot of autonomy in my role in Shift right now because we don't work with management for most of our show, so they trust us to do a lot. Now there are directives that you know and come down from management in your company and things like that. But I feel like things, like I see stuff in a show and I'm like, what is this and why is it here? Why did you put it there? I don't have a problem asking that. I think that as an anchor, one of my mentors told me your job is to anchor that show, to really drive it. And so I take that seriously and I don't feel like I'm stifled in any way. So yeah, I can't say that there's anything that I see now. And you're trying to get me in trouble too.
No.
But yeah, no, there's nothing that I see now that I would say, let's not do that anymore. Well, yeah. We'll save that for off camera.
Okay. I want to get into I want to get into what we were talking about earlier off camera about I don't watch the news.
I hear a lot of our generation.
Yeah, no, I'm sure.
That,
you hear that a lot. And my reasons is because when I click on the news, whether it be 5, 13 WMAZ, whatever it is, it seems like, negative story, negative story, negative story, negative story. Positive story, negative story. I just don't want all that energy. Yeah. I don't want to think that the world is just crazy or whatever. I feel like, to me, that's to the people who don't go out and investigate and interact with people who are just like homebodies or just trapped in their own little bubbles or whatever, the perception would be like, oh my God, it's dangerous out there, the world is just crazy. When I know I interact with people all the time and I know that not to be true. And it just seems like, it's a picture being painted or whatever. What is your take on that? Is there a reason why it seems like that way? Okay. I don't want to say that that's factual. That's just been my experience.
I would say this, right? The saying everything in moderation, which I don't really like that term because not everything, right? Some things you just can't do it all because it'll kill you.
Yeah.
But you are so right. I tell people, take a break. Like, if you sit and consume any cable news all day long, it's going to shape your mind. You're going to think like that. I don't care if it's Fox or CNN. You got to turn it off at some point. And so with local news is so different, and I can't express that enough. That's why we have different shows that come on scattered throughout the day. We're not on 24 hours like cable news is. And so local news is here to inform you, to tell you about what's going on in your neighborhood. And unfortunately, there are some issues in Macon, and so that's what is reflected in the news. We don't make a fire, we don't make a shooting. These things happen, and so we report them. First of all, for public safety, that is our first concern and responsibility. Is for public safety, and then awareness, and then how can we make the community better? My dad is one of those people that sits in his home and consumes news all day long. So he's scared of everything, and he tries to make me scared of everything. And he hates it because I'm so adventurous. Every place, and I told him this, every place that I've been, he tells me, don't go there, it's dangerous. Then people, if you go to Jamaica and you got your jewelry on, they're going to snatch your chains as soon as you get off the plane. I always tell them, when was the last time you've been to Jamaica? When was the last time you've been to New Orleans? When was the last time? Well, and so you're absolutely right. If it'll have you thinking the Middle East is a way that is probably not, because you've never been there. People that live in Korea, they are not... Like, I lived in Korea for a year, and the threat of North Korea has always been there, but they were chilling. That was I was like, y'all not scared? But the news said this, and they're like, oh, no. They were chilling. They weren't as concerned as we are. So it is. It's always hyper when you're consuming it 24 hours. Yeah, I don't think it was ever meant to be consumed that much. And so that's your problem. You know what I mean? You don't have self-control. Turning off the TV or turning off whatever it is shaping your mind in a negative way. They're going to make money.
Yeah, and that's the thing, like you said, I don't think news was meant to, because there's not that much news going on anyway, where we should have 24-hour news cycles. Because it just seems like the same cycle recycles itself. I mean, the same story. But as far as guests and stuff, have you had like a favorite, I guess, guest that you loved interviewing, or that, took you by surprise, that you might have had a different, perspective about her?
That's a good question. Ooh.
I try to ask some good questions.
I always love people that are upbeat, that, especially in the morning. But somebody in particular, I think people that have stories that touch me, that have been through things and they've come through the fire. I can't think of anybody in particular, but I think we had a lot of people during Breast Cancer Awareness Month, and those people that are survivors and things like that, or the kids that they're doing different charities for cancer and the kids have cancer. I mean, that's always like just inspiring to see them going through that, but really pushing through it. I can't think of anybody in particular, so I apologize on that one.
That's fine.
I don't think my little baby career, though, has afforded me somebody that's like, oh,
well,
yes.
no, not just, people would recognize, but just something that you, liked. But that's fine. How have you liked your position as being, a journalist? And I say this because I can compare it with social workers, right? This particular building that you're in is a mental health counseling building, right? So this is one of the businesses I've owned. Like I was telling you off air, I'm an entrepreneur. I'm a real entrepreneur.
Yes, for real.
Yeah, for real. But with this particular counseling business, we have a contract with the state of Georgia, and we do a lot of services with defects, right? So I'm in touch with a lot of different defects workers. And those particular individuals get to meet a lot of different people in the community, right? Because of various resources that they have to put together for plans on how kids are going to be, reunification process, or if they need to take the kids because they're just in a bad environment. Yeah. Same thing with you. You get to cover a full range of stories and a lot of different people. Yeah. How has that been? Have you enjoyed meeting all different walks of life?
That's one of my favorite things about this job. And I don't get to do it as much now as when I was a reporter, because I would meet somebody new every day as a reporter. And now I'm in studio more. But I definitely still get to meet a lot of interesting people that I would not have if I didn't work this job, and that is the best part for me, because I get to see all of the different types of people. Like, one day somebody wrote, and once again I told you I don't ever want to paint a perfect picture on social media. So one of my followers on my Facebook page saw a picture. She said, "You just have so much fun at work." And I had to explain to her, well, this morning I was just at the scene of a murder where a family was rushing in, their child, brother, or whatever was killed in the middle of the night. So there's both ends. But I like that because it shows you both ends. I don't always just get the sad, but I don't always just get the perfect happy. Yeah, and I think now in the age of infotainment and those kind of journalists, not knocking that at all. But people think that that's all that TV news people are. They're like, oh, I thought you just showed up and read the prompter. And it's like, no, it's so much more than that. And I think we, as this new generation of TV journalists, has to understand that too. At NABJ, I was at one of the conferences or one of the talks, and I forget her name, but she's been on CNN and the network level, and she said, you're here to do more than look cute, and
exactly.
to be you're here to be really an agent of change. And so yeah, that's my favorite part, is meeting different people. But also, you can meet somebody on the worst day of their life, but you can also meet somebody that's in a really cool time, like at a concert or something like that.
Okay, dope. With that being said, is it frustrating sometimes? Or I could imagine it being frustrating when you present information to people, factual based, but people not receive that information. Like, they're just against the grain where they don't believe it. They just, no matter what you present to them, like, they keep the same, I guess, thought process, or they're so opinionated and they think somebody else's opinion is better than the information you present to them. Is that a difficult thing when you're reporting stuff?
No, not when I'm reporting, because my job is to put it out there. How you receive it is whatever. And I told you I'm laid back, so people don't really get to me too much. Stuff it does get to me, but not that. But it is frustrating in this era of fake news and people that think that they are like real news crusaders, so to speak. The thing that is frustrating but funny at the same time is you see people share stuff on Facebook, and it's like, do the research. I literally had a friend say, post was, do the research for yourself, and it was this guy that had just like a blog on YouTube, and he was presenting his opinion, and I had to tell people, like, stop it. Like, this, you didn't do any research, so you are listening to this guy's opinion. I tell people, if you, as much as, and I know there are some bad people in media, just like there's some bad people in every profession, but as much as you distrust or dislike the media, if you don't see something on a major news outlet, it probably ain't true. It probably didn't happen. Like, if I can't Google it and see a major Washington Post, CNN, New York Times, somebody talking about it, and it's just a bunch of like something.net, I would question that.
The funny thing about that is that when I was at the barbershop today, and that's one of the things I was talking about, I was talking to Wade, who cut my hair, and I was like, when news stations put the information out there, they have to vet their stories.
Yes.
And he's like, vet the stories. I was like, yeah, vet the stories.
Yeah.
You can't just say anything, because you can get sued for slander. You can get sued for, what if someone takes that information and uses it, and then they hurt themselves or someone else? I'm like, you could just open up the floodgates.
Yeah.
I'm like, come on, this is their integrity part, and the ethics comes in. Legal, yeah. So you have all these things.
Yeah, like I told, one girl shared a video of then candidate Trump, and he was talking, but I guess what he was saying was something totally ridiculous, and the guy insinuated that the media had, which we hate that term, the media had basically moved his lips to say what they wanted him to say. So I had to tell, I'm like, in a loving way, that is illegal. Somebody could not only be fired but be put in jail for something like that. Like, this is not real. And they realize how ridiculous they are, for sharing that kind of stuff. And our country is in such a volatile time that we got to be careful with sharing that kind of stuff. This is what, we don't have conversations anymore face to face. People just have stuff on Facebook, and nobody is getting through to the other person, and people are just sharing really fake news. And then you have a conception about the media. I had a girl that posted in one of our media groups. She was doing a story. She videotaped the guy doing a story with a homeless guy. She had his permission. She was talking about getting this man help. Somebody drove past in a car, a young boy, and he started cursing her out. All he heard was the question that she asked about how do you ask people for money? That's all he heard, and he went off on her, called her all kind of bees and all kind of stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
So then he drove back around and realized what she was doing, and he was like, I'm sorry, but I just get frustrated. You guys always lie. You guys, we're a whole monolith,
I know you hate that because, one, you just grouping people all together.
Yes.
I mean, it's the same thing like saying, oh, you black people, you just do this, you do that, or you Mexicans and stuff, you're no good. I'm like, first of all, you can't just group people together like that. Just because people that share the same pigmentation does not mean they're the same.
Yeah.
And you have to, I tell people to treat people like individuals.
Mm-hmm.
Have an individual, connection and reaction and all that stuff with individuals and stop grouping people together. But, I get frustrated sometimes too because I like to engage with people and have conversations on social media. But like, there was one day I posted, like, I just can't with these flat earth people. I'm just so sick of y'all. Y'all stupid. I don't like to use that word because I can't use it in my household with my kids. It's a word that we don't like to say in front of the kids.
Yeah.
So we try not to say it, but it's dumb. How could you dig into earth this
You just
flat?
went off that day, basically. You had it.
Well, I have it a lot of times. That's why I have to stop talking to people because I'm like, you're stupid. And for you to be as old as you are and your brain is fully developed at 25, you should be able to come to a basic consensus. But when you go through school and you don't pay attention, of course you'll just believe anything. And I'm like, and then when people can't understand stuff, they try to, oversimplify it or make decisions based off emotion or, something that's not factual, something that's not real.
Yeah. Yes,
I know that's very frustrating at times.
Yeah.
But as far as yourself and your trajectory, where do you plan on doing, do you have a 5-year goal or 10-year goal where you want to see yourself?
I want it all. That's so funny. It's not. I want, as long as I'm in this business, I want to be at the top level, So hopefully I can compete at that level. I think Macon has been good to me, and I'm here. I'm here for another year or whatever. So I think that I've gotten better. I think I'm good, and so I want to be where the good is, and I want to be, So I can't. Short term, my short term goals when I think about my next job or whatever, I would love to be closer to some family. It doesn't have to be like the mothership of family. I want to be in a warm climate. So I don't like the cold. But long term, I would definitely love to do network morning TV.
Definitely dope. That's what I'm talking about. So we'll get into a couple more songs. If y'all have any questions out there before we wrap this up, y'all can do so. Dial in 917-889-8041. And this is El Jefe with Top Off. All right, we're back. Just having a sidebar conversation about my kids, my wife. Ashley said we're impressive, so I'm like, cool. I feel like I'm solidified now. But been having a good time and enjoying the conversation. As far as, because you have mentor, are you now about to reach that threshold where you become a mentor and get a mentoree, or have you taken on anyone yet?
I think not because I'm at a certain level, but once you survive a year in this business or 6 months, you're able to tell somebody, the next person down, stuff that they could avoid. So I would say so, because especially young Black women, like not that I don't care about anybody else, but I
don't think we have enough resources. But hey, go ahead.
I have an
pull us
affinity
along
for my dad was telling me, you still. It's still something to see a Black woman on TV, and I was like, really? He was like, yes, it is. I didn't think that, but I know when I saw, especially dark-skinned Black women on TV, I loved them back in the day, and so. You do, you have a platform and you have a responsibility. And then outside of that, I have a mentee with the Big Brothers Big Sisters. So, So yeah, I think so.
Definitely, I definitely love that, and the fact that you said dark skin too. I'm a dark skin advocate, even though I'm a little light skinned. I'm a dark skin advocate.
You can't help it. It's okay.
Yeah, but my wife, she's dark skinned as well.
Chocolate.
Yeah, she real chocolate. But I don't like how, when there's that connotation there, light skin versus dark skin stuff. I hate that. But then also, I believe mass media and just the mass world be trying to whitewash us and stuff. Like, we were saying earlier, straighten your hair. I'm like, why not have someone, rocking a fro or, just rocking a natural? What's wrong with that? Ain't nothing wrong with that because that's how it grows.
Yeah.
I think they jealous or whatever because, what it is, ain't no other race, their hair don't grow up. Like, you think about it, your hair grows up.
Our hair grows up. You just said a word right there. It grows up and
grows
out.
Up.
It don't grow
exactly.
down.
It don't grow down.
I want it to grow down sometime.
Well, we do or whatever, but, that's because us thinking that we have to or whatever. Yeah. But, like, I watching David Banner one time, and he was talking about that, and, like, I listened to his latest album that came out, The God Box, and understanding where he's coming from that viewpoint. But I was like, you know what? We are on the race to where our hair grows up, and what it's trying to do is trying to reach the sun. It's like a plant. It's trying to get there.
Wow.
So I believe, we are, the essence of everything. So I'm not gonna let somebody tell me that, hey, you not this and that. You mutated gene and everything, not me. So, but that's my whole thing with that. I did want to get your opinion on, I have doing the very little research that I did do with your Instagram and stuff like that. I like to think that, you're very prideful in your community, you want to uplift your community and things of that nature. Not to say that, you don't care about anybody else's community or whatever, because we all do. But it seems like, you want to celebrate that. Is that an accurate information?
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. Okay. I love being black. I go to a mixed church where it's New City, and we are trying to really diversify and talk about the issues in this country with race and all of that. And so I work around other races all the time. I like to travel, and so I'm always inundated in other cultures. But at the end of the day, I love our culture. I love our people. We are funny. That's what we are. Innovative. Funny, innovative. We are creative, and I just love that. I love it. I love it. Yeah. So yeah.
My own little personal quest before I leave this existence is to bring back Black Wall Street. I really want to.
Wow.
I feel that now, with the internet and
now, do your listeners know what Black Wall Street is?
Some of them do. I'm still trying to get them there.
Yeah.
No, actually, the crazy thing about that is that I started having meetings, right? And everybody was all gun ho at first, and had 7 to 8 people, whatever, first meeting. Then I'll set the meeting, leaving that day for next month's meeting. It went down to 3, and then 2. And I'm like, come on. I'm like, I got the space where we can meet.
Yeah.
I'm like, we ain't got to worry about that, because that's one of the things when you try to organize, you have to have a location. And I'm like, y'all don't want to sacrifice y'all time. And that's one of my pet peeves with our people is that they're still stuck in this Jim Crow type mentality or whatever. They're like, you can't have anything. You don't deserve to have anything. You just got to scrape by. And I tell people all the time, life is not about struggling. Life is about being prosperous and experiencing all these different new experiences. And about, I got to go work, and not have anything when you leave.
Yeah.
Or whatever.
It's hard to teach people or get them into a different mindset that where you are. And then it's even harder to be in a different mindset but not think that you're better than them because they're still stuck in that mindset. Not saying that you're feeling like that, but I have experienced that and having to really scale back and say, yes, I'm here and yes, I've grown, but that doesn't make me better than them. And I don't know if they're ever going to get to where I want them to be, but I don't know. That's where I'm like...
I personally think that I don't think there's enough alpha people, male, female, what the case may be, out there right now that's being promoted and branding and telling people that we can do this. We can, solve our own problems in our own community. We can make black. We can support black businesses. Because even with this particular podcast, it was not only created for artists, independent artists, to have a platform, but because I love music, I love business, mushed the two together, and I go out and I actively find black business owners, and I bring them on here and I interview them and give them a platform to let people know about them. Then I talk about them on Facebook, and then I do videos about them.
Yeah.
They're not paying me to do this.
Yeah.
It's just out of self-love. And
that's good.
That is good, but it gets frustrating with me when I want just them to do more or whatever, and just basic business concepts. Because I see these posts all the time where, well, black business, they should be able to do this and do that or whatever. And I went on this rant the other day with one of my videos where I was saying that you have to give them the opportunity to get there. Because how many of us have references to draw back to?
Right.
How many of us have the resources starting out that it really takes to run a business? We just have an idea, but we don't have execution experience.
And the thing with that is too, you talk about the alpha personalities. I was just telling my niece just went to Alabama State University. She's not really sure what she wants to do, and she's talking about radio. And you talked about the difficulties of radio, and I told her how it's really a diminishing industry in that people are going to podcasts and satellite and all that, and I want her to do what's going to be good and be happy for her, and also she has to follow God's plan for her life, but also I want her to make money. There's no bones about that. I want you to make money. And I told her, I feel like you should really let me groom you into going into this industry that I'm in, because that's what other cultures do. Your dad was a lawyer, your granddaddy was a lawyer, and now you a lawyer. You go into the family business knowing how to do that, how it works. Whereas me, I had to fumble, figure it out, and be broke and, do all of that. Whereas I'm trying to tell her, I can help you, I can show you once you graduate in 4 years and I'm here, I can maybe help you along the way and, get those connections.
Exactly.
And I think that we have to do more of that too as a people, like, really grooming our kids for the family career, the family business, not to a point where it's is stifling them or you are controlling them as an adult. But saying,
it's
this
done
is
all
what
the
I think
time.
will be best.
Right. That's how you get Johnson & Johnson, the 8th generation business and wineries and stuff like that, and distilleries. It's interesting that you say that, because my kids, I teach them, they have two choices when they graduate high school, right? What do you think those two choices are?
Well, I know what I've heard, but listening to you, I don't think that those would be your choices.
What are they? What do you think they are? The
military or get a job or go to school, something like that. I've heard that, especially in our community. But I don't know. Yeah,
the two choices are you can go to college, or in lieu of that, you don't have to go to college. You can start a business.
Yes.
And the money that I have saved and that I am currently saving for you to go to college will be your seed money for your business. You do not have to be successful at that business the first time out. I just want you to have the experience to really be focused on that business, because it will teach you a lot. You will learn a lot.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that could be, a stepping stone for whatever else. Now, if you want to go out there and work with somebody else after you've done that, at least you know what your value is and what you bring to the table. Yeah. And you won't be shortchanged.
And I think it's important, too, for people to understand who they are, their personality types, because not everybody can be an entrepreneur. Some people, you just got to work for somebody because you are used to a structure that's already there. It's hard work being an entrepreneur. I'm sure you can attest to that. That is a 24 hours, you don't, vacations is your money, and then you spending money to go on vacation, and you're not so it's hard work, and so that's the popular thing to say right now is, I'm an entrepreneur.
I hate it. no, I hate it.
I got this
like
Instagram business. I got this,
and the thing
is, they'll start a new Instagram page. I know a lot of people, I was thinking this the other day, a lot of people that do like a lot of photo shoots. I'm like, are people getting paid to do photo shoots nowadays? Like, is that, like, you know, they come out with new headshots or new shots, like, to promote themselves or whatever they're trying to push, but then they never deliver with a product or with something. And it's like, oh, are you just taking pretty pictures, or is your book actually coming out? Or so it takes a lot to be an entrepreneur. And I had to realize that, and I may be, you know, because I think that actually instead of me having a lot of energy younger and it waning, my energy has heightened as I gotten older. And, you know, I do things now that I wouldn't have done as a child, or as a youth. So I was like, you know, I like working in the structure that's already built right now, but I may be one day an author or entrepreneur or whatever, and I think I could have the discipline for that. But before, I knew, no, I like my vacation days that are, and I'm not ashamed to say that. Some people,
and I tell people about it all the time, and like people will call me because like I started my first business right before I graduated college. Like I was telling you earlier, music productions. 3 years later, flipped it, turned into my own independent label. 3 years after that, people pulled me in. Oh, no, help us run our independent label. Okay, so now I got that. So I got those two things going. Then I was like, oh, start a podcast. Okay, doing that. Oh, you've done mental health counseling. And like prior to starting this business, I already had experience in mental health counseling. And I ran someone's part-time business, like $45,000 the first year, $88,000 the next. All due to my hard work and intellect and being able to flip the business and get it to grow like that. So I already knew what I was doing. Came to this one, first year 92, then 127, and 170 something, 205. It's like 3 something. So we're on course for like $500,000. Then, you know, 5 years from now, it'll be $1 million mental health business. I already know that. I've ran the numbers. You know, as long as everything stays steady, growing 30-40% rate, we're fine.
Right.
So I love that. But I know what the process is, and like you said, being disciplined, people not realizing first 3 years I wasn't on payroll. Everybody else got paid. I didn't get paid. So I had to work 80 just to quit 40. And you know, that is saying, like a lot of people's, why would you work 80 hours just to be able to quit 40? Well, it's the 40 that I get back that where I can do a lot with. Now, I have a process. I have people that I've hired that can do certain jobs, and all I got to do is manage them. And make sure they do that. And then my time is allowed to go out and secure contracts that brings in the money and stuff like that. So, you know, I love it. I get to coach my kids, get to go to all their games. Like I drop them off at school, pick them up from school. You know, they see me all the time at school. So, and the teachers know they can access us, and I can plan my day around my kids if need be, which I love that flexibility. Wouldn't trade that for anything. I don't like working for the man. I don't like working for the man. But I do advocate for the ones who, like I like to say that, you know, a lot of people like to sit on the couch, and they don't like to jump off and, you know, start walking or whatever for entrepreneurship. A lot of people just have these grandiose ideas. Oh, I want to do this, I want to do that. No, you got to start with just getting that $1 first. Then you got to flip that dollar to 100, and then 100 to 1,000, you know, so on and so on. And for those individuals, I try to encourage them, if you feel like your life has way more purpose than what it is currently, it's your situation, and if entrepreneurship is something you've always cling to, then go out there and do it, because why live a life of regret?
Absolutely.
You know,
I agree.
but if, like you said, if you need that structure, then, you know, we need people. We need both.
Everybody can't be a person. Some people got to be a B person. Everybody can't be the president.
And there's nothing wrong. Exactly.
You got to be the vice president. You got to be the number 2. And be the best number 2.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? That's okay.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that. I tell people there's all different levels. It's like there's, you know, A-list celebrities, B-list celebrities, and so on and so on. And, you know, it's just how you see it or whatever. But
I think, too, in our younger generation, I just have such a heart for them because of social media. And they push that, you know, if you are this type of job, then you're good. But if you're not, then you're not cool, basically, or you're not this. So, for instance, you know, everybody wants to be an entertainer, or they want to be an Instagram model or something cool that looks like on Instagram, like you're doing it big. But somebody got to go to work a 9 to 5, and all of y'all are not, you know, in the entertainment industry actually pulling money. Like, who is at McDonald's? And that's okay.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? That's a whole nother conversation. If you long term, I don't know if it's okay. If it's going to supply your needs and whatever.
McDonald's is like the starter
right.
kit
That's
of your
why
life.
they want $15 an hour now, because people trying, and some people have to raise families on their McDonald's salary, not to take that lightly. You know, some people actually have to, but
I think that opens up a different kind of words too, though. You know, I believe in preparation and all that stuff, but don't be having kids you can't afford them. So, you know, hey, I just say it like it is. You might not be able to say that. You know what I'm saying?
You know, so the thing is that nobody wants to be like, you know, a shift worker anymore, or even a teacher, because it's like, that ain't cool, that ain't hip, that's not gonna get me like looking fly and all that. I can't post about, you got Teacher Bay now that made it cool, I guess. But you know, y'all remember her, Teacher Bay up in Atlanta?
Yeah, the one who had on the yeah, that was one of the things. I didn't like how people were just like attacking her just because of the outfits. I'm like, so what? She's curvy and she teaching like kindergarten. They ain't looking at her like that. You ought to be applying her or whatever. She encouraging all her little workmates and stuff, all the bells and stuff. To, hey, what's she wearing today? You know, right. She got my brain working.
Yeah. So nobody wants to have a profession anymore that's not glamorous. And
that's selling them side. But that's the same thing with the entertainment, though. You know, they sell people the dream. And like all these rappers and all these artists, they're broke. I just tell people they broke. That all this stuff that's rented and everything. They rent mansions and all. They rent cars. They ain't making that money like that. And you see them on Forbes or whatever, but you know, they ain't bringing in. There's some of them bringing in the cash, but not all of them. And then the ones who really got the money.
Talks about in Moonlight, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, I'm like, they should. But that's the thing, though. That's the structure of entertainment. You have to sell the dream, right? In order for people to come from all these different places. Like, people flock to Nashville. It was funny because, like I said, I went to the CD Baby music do-it-yourself music conference, and Rick Barker, who is the manager of Taylor Swift, he's one of the speakers, and he was talking about, Broadway is a popular street downtown where a lot of people just aspiring country singers and stuff just go up and down the street singing, thinking that they're gonna get discovered. Ain't nobody from Capitol Records or whatever paying attention to all that. You know what I'm saying? It's made through connections and things of that nature, and knowing that you have a brand. And now the artists nowadays, to hit it mainstream, you got to already be like right here so they can push you up there and not have to do all that work, but they're gonna capitalize off of all that work that you did from going and getting there. And they don't do artist development and all that stuff anymore. I'm like, it's not what you think. No one just gets discovered anymore. They don't do that. The business model has changed.
You just killed some people's dreams.
Well, you know, I like to be realistic too. You know, I have a lot of meetings with artists, and they be like, they come in thinking, oh, I could do this, I can go platinum. No, you're not going platinum. You know, I'm sorry, you don't have the funds to.
Wow.
Well, how would I be if I was selling you something and I'm taking away your life?
You know better than me, because my naive self and, you know, just my not knowing of that industry is like, oh, I thought people still did get discovered, especially now on YouTube and stuff. So, see, but you know better than me.
You got to be popping on YouTube before you get discovered.
Yeah, but
like, it leads to another platform. You see what I'm saying?
I would want to talk to a person like you that tells the real deal. And some people don't like to hear that. Like you said, they don't like to hear the real deal. I want to hear it early on. Like, you know, we get critiqued in our industry all the time. And if you're smart, you're sending yourself to people that you trust to tell you what you're doing wrong. And so I want to hear the bad, the ugly. Don't tell me. I get a lot of, you know, and it's not me being vain, but I get a lot of, you're beautiful, you this, that, and the third. I don't want to hear that. You know, it's easy to put on some makeup and look good. Yeah. I want it to be good. You know, I want somebody to tell me, stop saying this, or, you know, the way.
Or say it that way, or, you know, provide this perspective.
The first critique I got from a viewer in Michigan, she emailed me, she said, and I remember it verbatim, that's how much it shaped my life. She said, we're from Chicago and we watch you guys every morning, and I think you do a great job and you will make it to a bigger market one day. But every time they toss it to you, you say, my anchor's name at the time was Vicky. She said, every time Vicky tosses it to you, you say, that's right, Vicky, and you shake your head. She was like, and it's so annoying. That was the part that stung. She was like, it's so annoying. So could you stop doing that? And I never said that ever again in my I never said it.
I could definitely I could understand that. I have a on Mondays I'm behind the scenes producing a segment called Gold My Mondays with independent artist by the name of Billy Slum. And he does a Facebook Live interview, which we have play off of each other, feed off of each other's fan base. But when he listens to a lot of my different podcasts and stuff, I have the same that's and I'll say in everything, behind something. And so then we'll be in casual conversation like in everything, just critiquing me.
That's
so that helps shapes. I put it in my noggin and be like, okay, I need to stop saying it because it can be seen as annoying. But that's the thing, we should be able to take. Because that viewer is viewing. If those viewers are not viewing, then therefore the opportunity is not there no more to make the money and be the news anchor. So,
and there are some people that are nasty, and that what you shouldn't take their critiques to heart. But some people, she was genuine, and she gave a compliment first. She,
exactly.
She built up, and then she was like, "But you do this, and it's not good." So you can tell when it's for real, when it's genuine, and so you should take heed to that.
Yeah, I flipped that with people's businesses. I asked a lot of business owners. So when people walk through your doors, if they call your telephone, do you ask them how they got your information? And that will tell you where you need to put your marketing dollars.
There you go.
Yeah, but they don't do that. So not the ones who want to make money anyway. I just run into a lot of different people, and I can go into a whole lot of different stuff.
I feel like you could. I do. I'm gonna have to see one of these infamous Facebook rants.
Oh, they're not infamous yet because people. The thing about myself is that I didn't really go out and promote myself as a brand when I was doing stuff. So people don't know me as the face, but they have been getting to know me the last couple of years.
Okay.
And like when I post different videos, because I don't do it all the time either, so I don't bombard people with my Facebook Live videos. So they take heed to it when they do listen to them, and they hear that I do speak the truth, and I'm not going to sugarcoat stuff just because it might sound nice. No, I don't want that stuff sugarcoated. Well, you shouldn't either. Don't let nobody deceive you.
Sugar's bad for you.
Yeah, too much of it is.
Too much.
Yeah, there's a documentary on that too. I can tell you like documentaries and stuff, don't you?
I do. I like documentaries.
You're very inquisitive and want knowledge.
It's so funny you say that because my co-anchor he loves like Star Trek and Star Wars and all those things, and I never liked that kind of stuff, and that's fine if you like it. So the other day he was like, well, what do you like? And I was like, well, I like documentaries. I like stuff about real time. Right now Narcos came back and I'm loving that. So
I need to go binge watch that. I really do.
Yeah,
I saw the trailer and I was like, oh my, this looked better than what I thought it was going to be.
Right, without Pablo it's like, but yeah. But he said, who sold your imagination? And I just laughed. It's like, because I don't like the mystical stuff. I don't like and he said, who stole your imagination when you were a child? And I'm like, you're right. My parents were very just matter of fact, and we watched real stuff, so that's what I like now. And I like stuff like, I'm never gonna see a Lord of the Rings, so I don't want to watch it on TV. I'm sorry. If that's your thing, that's cool. I know you said you got viewers from all over the world, so that's cool.
I don't think you offended. People were offended. They'd be calling in and stuff like that. Like, hey,
I'm never gonna see a what's it called? What's that thing on Lord of the Rings called? I ain't gonna see that in my life, so I don't want to watch a movie about Spiegel.
No, Smeagol.
Smeagol. This guy.
No, I did watch the movies, but I like to watch a lot of different stuff. So
and that's fine. That's fine. But people get on me because I don't like that stuff. Like this guy took me on a date one time, and he took me to Lord of the Rings, and I was already tired. He took me to a 3-hour movie. I don't want to see you anymore.
Yeah,
You're rude.
I can understand that. Yeah. He definitely should have I don't know. What's up with it? Like, I think dating has changed now. I've been married for 14, 15 years. I still got plenty of, 30 minutes of airtime. But anyway, I'm enjoying the conversation. It's just like you are too. But it seems like dating nowadays have just this rule book and the unwritten rules have been thrown out the window. Like no one's passed the baton down.
Right. Have y'all passed the baton down?
Well, my son, my oldest son, he's only 11, and he still has like an innocence about him. Right. He was traumatized because he went into the barbershop. Mm-hmm. My wife took him over to barbershop on Hillcrest in the hood or whatever. Right. So just going out there because she told the dude she would come in or whatever, and I like to go down. For some reason I don't go to the New Way over there. I go to the New Way down there. I just don't like to give Mercer money. Yeah, I got a lot of different things about me. I ain't touching none of it.
I got another year on my contract. So
she takes him down there. Excuse me. And he goes into the bathroom and he sees like, a very, I guess, erotic looking picture. Right, of a woman, right? And, you just see her butt cheeks and stuff like that. No. She's not naked, but, like bikini, I guess, type. Yeah. So she said...
In the barbershop?
Yeah, in the bathroom. So he goes into the bathroom. Yeah, well,
okay.
Me growing up, that was typical. I've seen a lot of stuff, and growing up, so I advanced, like, quickly. Yeah. That's another story. So he comes out and she's calling me, right? Mm-hmm. And she's describing. She's like, he just came out and he was just shocked. He was in, just didn't know what to do or whatever. Yeah. And like, let me know he still has like his innocence about him and stuff.
I think that's a good thing.
Yeah, which is great. I love it. But when she called and told me that, I just busted out laughing, and I was laughing so hard I was in tears. That's how funny it was to me. But it just shows the difference between our upbringing. Mine was I had a lot of trauma and stuff like that, and I was exposed to stuff way earlier than I should have been. Absolutely. And I wasn't allowed to have my childhood per se. Mm-hmm. All my kids, they get to have their childhood. Yeah. So as far as grooming the young men, and I have 2 sons. As they get older, I will, teach them chivalry and stuff like that.
How old are you, if you don't mind me asking, or?
I'm 36.
Okay. And you've been married how long?
14 years. Been knowing each other for...
36, 24?
Yeah, when I had him, yeah. Because I had...
When you got married?
Oh, no, when I got married, no, hold on. I'm sorry. When did I get married? I got married in 2003. Just feels like 50 years or so. We still have like lots of fun though. It's not like when.
So you've been married 14.
I've been married 14 years. We've been knowing each other like 16 years.
So you got married at 22.
22, yeah.
Okay.
I got married at 22.
Yeah. So first of all, and to my brother, my oldest brother, who is 43, he and his wife got married 21, 23. Mm-hmm. First of all, people don't do that anymore.
Yeah, I've seen, and then people don't have 8 kids by the same woman either. So
right,
monopoly.
My friend and I were just talking about this on. And especially in the Atlanta dating scene, she was like, Atlanta makes men lazy.
Okay.
Take out the whole download stuff and all of that a lot of women say they're concerned about moving to Atlanta as a single woman. I don't even concerned about that. It's that men are lazy. They don't want to court you. They don't want to take you. They don't want to. They don't have to. They don't have to take initiative. And I'm not that kind of woman. And so it's like until I'm happy being on my couch watching Narcos and then traveling and doing what I do, until somebody comes along that really shows that they are taking initiative and actually just trying to get to know you. I don't want to spend time with somebody that does stuff mediocre. Like,
I can understand.
The dating scene has changed because they can hit you up on Instagram and think that that's it. They think that is like...
It definitely seems like, it's not even seem it has. Like, all this stuff, like, I wouldn't date now. Y'all crazy with this stuff y'all doing nowadays. But I'm like, that's the thing, though, Is it like really the population density as far as like, is it like way more females than it is males due to,
That's what people say. I know in Atlanta it is,
So, that can contribute to, the laziness.
Right. That definitely contributes to the laziness. They don't have to.
That's a problem. Okay. You got to start telling your single, women, hey, y'all got to stop. Y'all got to start holding out, drying up. Drying up the place, you know what I'm saying?
But what I've learned, okay.
Yeah, come together with this.
What I have learned, being actually single and content and like just doing your own thing or whatever, is everybody is not built. It's hard for people. Like, people want to, especially in social media, people want to take pictures with people. They want to do stuff with people. So some people will keep somebody that's mediocre around just to have somebody around. And so understanding that it's difficult, but at the same time knowing that I don't want to settle, like that's the place that I'm always in. So, and a lot of women, though, they do settle, and I'm not judging them for that, because I know it's difficult at times, but it ain't that hard to settle for something that's mediocre. Then you having a baby by somebody you don't even
my wife,
like.
I loved it. Actually, I got a funny story. When I first met my wife, we met online, even though we both going to Fort Valley at College Club. I don't know if you remember, College Club was a huge chat site. It was sort of like Yahoo Chat or whatever. Anyway, they came College Club. So it was our names or whatever. I'm Andrea, she's Andrea. So, that was like our little introduction. Yeah, you got another funny story behind that too. But anyway, so we're meeting or whatever. And we finally meet up. First, she was talking to my roommate or whatever, but she wasn't really talking to him. He tried to talk to her, and she just wasn't interested. So then I met her or whatever, and she was like, the hard to get game. Like, I don't want no boyfriend. Yeah, whatever. Okay, so I just kept on pursuing. And me, I've always been about, the pursuit. I love the pursuit. That's the whole thrill of it.
I think most guys do too, don't they? Like, that's in
not
your
the
nature.
New age, supposed to be. Not these new age guys or whatever. It seems like, whatever. Y'all suck. But anyway, no, for real. There's a lot.
We gotta build them up.
Yeah, I got time for that. Excuse me. But so that's what it was. And it was just this pursuit of, because I think she had got out of a bad relationship not too long before that. So I don't think she really was, but we just finally was able to click and stuff like that. But then she didn't want any kids. Like 0. That was her number. 0. Goose eggs.
8. Wow.
So the funny story behind that I tell people is that, after I broke her down or whatever, I wanted 4. She wanted I tell people she wanted 5, I wanted 4. We settled on 8, So we compromised at 8.
That's funny. Yeah. But the funny thing is, though, it's not even like young guys that are acting this way. It's older. It's like 35-year-olds that are. They
just didn't grow up. That's how it was. No one kicked them out the house.
But I have hope alive. That's just, one bad apple doesn't ruin, or a few bad apples don't ruin it for. But in this business too, that's another thing that women are faced with. Men too is, you move around a lot, and sometimes you're in these smaller towns to start out, and so it's difficult. It can be difficult, and your schedules are difficult, and people don't understand your job, so that can be difficult for.
Yeah, I can only imagine, like, your schedule's crazy, and then what you say, like, people calling you in and stuff like that. If there's some type of news coverage that has to get out there, breaking news type situation. Excuse me, then all these different assignments that you get to where, you're presenting this overall quality information. Not only reporting, local stuff, but then, you might do a segment on, I don't know, something happening in Korea or whatever, fly over there or whatever the case may be, if the budget calls for it and all that stuff. So for them to understand that, a lot of people just function off that same, get up 9 to 5 type, thing. So, that's what they're stuck in. They're stuck in their own little world.
Yeah.
And to receive information that's different than that, just throws them for a loop.
Yeah,
So, but, hey, maybe, there'll be somebody out there for you.
I have hope, I think there is definitely. I'm no doubt about that.
Yeah, it's just, I think, right person comes around at the right time. At the right time, so
I'm chilling. That's all.
There's nothing wrong with you doing you and having, expectations about what you want. Yeah. I think that's definitely a must. Because flip side of that is that you have other people who put out like this list of demands that they have, but they don't want to bring the same to the table.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? I'm like, what was it? It was one time what was it? Actually, the other day, me and my wife was having a conversation about, what was it with us? And yeah, I didn't even have a car at the time.
Mm-hmm.
And then she always talks about my shoes because my shoes was like,
Ooh.
yeah, they were dirty. But my shoes were dirty because I was walking on some freaking clay. I know nothing about no Georgia clay, and it did to get white shoes dirty like they did.
Wow, so she gave you a chance.
Yeah, she did. She really gave it a chance, but she saw the potential,
Yeah.
and that's what it was. Of course, I had the naysayers at the beginning. Well, he ain't got this, he ain't got that, or whatever. Well, to me, how can you ask those demands when you ain't got them either, or whatever? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But I understand. It's the way people raise and stuff like that. But
Right.
they saw the potential and what it
Yes.
is, and of course, what I'm doing now and all this different stuff that I do. So I definitely can see. But yeah, I wouldn't want to be a single person out here. I feel for y'all. Y'all got it hard.
But you can't marry potential though. They got to show some initiative with that potential
Well,
too.
yeah, I've always had initiative,
Yeah,
so
because there's a lot of people that got a lot of potential and they don't do nothing with it. But I think too, when you met your wife, you were much younger.
Mm-hmm.
People are getting married a lot later now, and so yeah, I think expectations should be.
Yeah, you got to have something showing for yourself.
Yeah, you can't be. Unless you just got a special call in to get away from something, you can't be 40 and just starting a rap career. Like, that's just not gonna happen for me.
You gonna kill their dreams?
I'm not killing your dream, but the buck stops with me. I'm gonna tell you that right now. I'm not killing you. You can pursue your dream. But I ain't riding with you. I don't think unless like I said, unless I see some initiative with that potential that really is like a special something. But yeah, the average person.
Adele, she started her singing career when she was like 40.
Right. But I'm saying the average, though, because there's always the exception to the rule. Because there were some of those articles where certain people didn't get their first acting gig until this.
Taraji, yeah. Break until she like 28 or 29.
Right. Martha Stewart or somebody didn't start till later. So all these geniuses that started later in life, and that's cool, but they are exceptions, you know what I mean, to a rule. So if you got a guy that's like doing his thing, and I'm not saying, don't ride for people. That's not me at all. I'm not saying that. Don't ride for people, but you have to show some initiative with potential. Yeah.
Definitely, yeah. You definitely got to back it up and put something in motion. I tell my nieces and nephews all the time, look, at y'all's age, I was already, doing stuff, whatever. Y'all just now out there on the cusp of adulthood and being young adults. But you can't sit around doing nothing. I'm like, don't spin the hamster wheels.
Yeah,
like, you don't have to have it all together.
And what are you doing? When you waiting for the dream to come? Like, are you still working to provide? I think that men should take pride in being providers. And I was listening to Nate Parker, the actor. He was at NABJ 2 years ago or something, maybe last year, and he was talking about how in his acting career, there would be times where he didn't have work. He was like, but I didn't just sit at the house. Yeah. I went and worked. He worked as a known actor, but he worked at a Kroger warehouse. Walmart warehouse. He was trying to raise money for Birth of a Nation. And this
is a good movie, by the way.
Great movie, yeah.
Just a side note. I hate the fact that people went to go see Medea's Boo over Birth of a Nation.
I don't know any of those people.
Yeah, the Medea, Tyler Perry.
Oh yeah.
That movie came out like 2 weeks after. Time. Yeah, his did. Now his did like 13 million, something like that, or whatever. That one did 30 million the first weekend. I'm like, come on, y'all go see this character. You can go see anytime or whatever. Versus a movie that has history and a lot of content to it. And can actually inspire you to do other things.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, that was just my side note. I'm sorry.
I know. I'm gonna let you have your rant. But yes, he said, he was just saying, while he was waiting for people to fund his movie because it was not a popular movie that the big companies wanted to buy into. Of course, he worked because he had to support his family. So he worked in a warehouse. In Hollywood, he had a mortgage. So that's what I'm talking about. Like,
bills are real.
Yeah, bills are real. I like that.
Yeah, I just made it up. So no.
better phrase that one.
But I've definitely been enjoying our time.
Yes.
So we might have to do like a follow up. What you doing now? 6, 7, 8 months from now.
Yeah,
You know,
we
how
might
you
have
popping?
to. Because I'm about running on 24 hours now. So
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I didn't intend, intensive purposes to keep it this long, but I've definitely been enjoying it.
Yeah.
Anything you want to leave the people with? Any words of inspiration? Do you want them to follow you? How can they follow you?
You guys can follow me on Instagram at Kirklen, Kirklen. It's pretty easy. If you heard me talking earlier, I kind of just post personal stuff there, so you're not going to get a whole lot of like my work stuff, but you get some of it though. If you want more of that, you can follow me on Facebook, Ashley Kirklen, and Twitter. Twitter is where I post like news stuff, like you're gonna get the news stories. So that's all Ashley Kirklen. Yeah, and I would just tell people, believe in the goodness of the goodness of the world. I know it's a lot of bad out there, but the goodness of it, and follow God's plan for your life, because it's real. It is true. It is real. And work hard. Don't slack. Go for it. Take the trip. Eat the cake. All of that. But also work hard. You know what I mean? I always like for my downtime and my rest and vacation and all that to be justified by the work that I've done. Like, I want to earn that vacation. I want to earn the stuff that that you really enjoy. So
okay, definitely words of encouragement, words to follow by.
So I don't really know what else to say.
He's somebody they look up to. Definitely appreciate everybody tuning into the show. Everybody who's been liking the page. Make sure y'all go and follow Instagram, Bankedoutt_radio_show. You can follow the page on Facebook, Bankedoutt Radio Show. Just type it in the search box. And just keep on supporting. And y'all can always come back to these various blogs, podcasts on blogtalkradio.com/Bankedoutt Radio Show. But I am your host, Andres, a.k.a. Discover This. And we've had the Miss Kirklen on, and we're out.
A Monday.